Some of the things clients have asked me to do have been absolutely insane. So did I do it or did I not do it? Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, I'm Cole Caparoon. Thank you for stopping by for another video. Now I feel like this is something that every one of us have went through if we work with clients. If we're not just working on our own music and we're making music with other people and for other people, if you've been doing it for any length of time, you've experienced this before. So my goal with this video is to kind of talk you through how I navigate these tricky situations, and I hope that it will help you. That's my goal. Now, what I'm talking about here is when you send music to people, either something that you've produced, something that you've played on, something that you've mixed, and their requests for their changes, in your opinion, are insane. You're like, this is absolutely not the right move for this song. What they want sounds absolutely terrible. What am I supposed to do? And I think the gut reaction to most of us when we first start off is, I'll do this, but you got to take my name off of it. I'll make these changes that you want, but you can't tell anyone that I worked on it. And this is where I was too back in the day. I really did. More than once. I remember one situation in particular. I did this full-length album for this rock band, and during the mixing process, I would send them the mix, and they would be like, "Can we turn the bass guitar up?" And I'm like, "Okay." And then I'd turn the bass guitar up, and then I'd send them mix 2, and they'd be like, "Bass guitar up." And I'm like, "Okay." And I'd send them mix 3, and they're like, "Bass guitar up." And it would get to the point, and this was like on every song, it would get to the point where the bass guitar was louder than the kick drum, louder than the snare drum, and equally as loud or louder than the vocal on some of the songs. And I was just like, no, this is crazy. No, we need to not make the bass guitar any louder. And it got to the point where I had a conversation, and I'm like, take my name off of it. I can't have my name on this, because I don't want people to think that I'm doing this, that I'm making these poor of choices when I'm mixing. I've been in that situation a bunch. It happened not too long ago. There's an artist here in town, and what they wanted, the overall sonic character that they wanted, was just more mid-range in the overall mix. Like, so much so that the mix started sounding like I just had a bell curve on it. It almost sounded like I had a wah pedal turned halfway on the entire mix. And it's what they wanted. And this is where it gets difficult, because depending on where you're at in your career, for me personally, I need to add up how many songs I've worked on, but it's in the thousands for sure that have gotten released. It's definitely in the thousands, plural. And when these artists, this is where it gets difficult, and this is where we fight our own ego, or at least I do. When these artists who have never released a song, or they've released 2 or 3 songs and they have no real success to speak of, when they're asking for things that me as a producer and as a mixer who has worked on literally thousands of songs, I know that it's a bad move for the song. What do we do? What do you do in that case? So I have come up with a way to handle this after dealing with this. I mean, it's probably been 100 or 200 times I've been in this situation out of thousands of songs. And here's what I've come up with. And I hope that this helps you know how to proceed. I've gotten a few questions on Instagram about this. And so I figured this would be a great opportunity to just express how I handle these situations. What I do is I've realized over the years that my future clients are almost entirely from word of mouth. It's almost entirely from, I made my client happy, so they told other people how much they liked working with me, and then those people hired me. Now, what I would prefer to happen, and it happens a lot now, but in the beginning it didn't. What I would prefer to happen is I want people to hear the music that I've worked on, and I want them to like the music that I've worked on, and I want them to be like, I like what you do. Can you do what you do on my music? And that would be my preference. And at this point, I kind of won't accept any music, any projects, if they haven't heard my work. If it's a brand new first-time contact client, I send them a playlist of stuff I've worked on, and I'm like, make sure you enjoy this, because this is what I do. And if you don't, absolutely no hard feelings. Please go find someone that suits what you want more. But for the longest time, I didn't have the luxury of turning down that much work. I had to do the work because I needed the money. And what I've come up with is every time I've butted heads with a client like this, I've never gotten any future clients from them. I've never done any future work for them, first of all, and I've never gotten any future clients from word of mouth. They've never been like, hey, you know who you should work with? You should go work with Colt. And so what I have settled on at this point, at this point in my career, I try to weed out as much possibility for that as I can. Listen to my previous work. We discuss our goals. I want to know what they want, reference mixes, artists that they like, etc. And then if we align on everything, then I'll accept the project as long as the songs are good. So that's how I handle it now. But I realize most people are not in that position in their career, and I was not in that position for 18 years of my 21-year career. So what I do is I just make the client happy. I try my very best to find a solution that makes us both happy. If they want that bass guitar just as loud as the vocal, well, how creatively can I make that interesting? Can I find a way to make that bass guitar as prominent in the mix as the lead vocal and it still be cool, like it's an artistic creative choice rather than an amateur choice? So that's my first thing, is can I find a way to give them what they want? Maybe it's that the guitars are fighting the bass guitar too much. Maybe I need to EQ the guitar out of the way of the bass guitar some more. Maybe they don't actually want more low end in the bass guitar. Maybe they want the bass guitar to be heard when they're listening on their cell phone more. So I need a bunch more mid-range rather than just pushing the fader up. Like, how do I get to this finish line that they want while still making myself okay with the choices that are being made? And so that's what I do now, because that's how you get future clients. And that is how you make people happy. You want to be a joy to work with. You want to be able to get to the finish line that they would like to be at, because at the end of the day, it is their music. And if you can do that, and if you can make them happy, they will tell people, and those other people will hire you. But if you do not do that, and you butt heads with them super hard, and you tell them to take your name off of the project, you will not get any future clients from that. And the only thing you've accomplished is having a product that you can't show off because you don't like the choices that were being made, and hopefully you made enough money on the project for it to be worth it, because you're probably never going to work with them again. You're never going to get any future clients from them, and you can't even show off the project to potential new clients. So that's how I handle it. I do try to explain to people the ideas, like that super mid-range thing that I was talking about. I did try very hard to just explain, I don't feel like this is right for the song because I listened to any other song. This is not what they sound like. And at the end of the day, it didn't matter. And sometimes we just go separate ways with clients, and that is perfectly fine. So I hope that helped you know how to navigate this. There's links down below for all the gear that I use. Those links go to Sweetwater. Thank you, Sweetwater, for sponsoring this video. Anytime you guys need any piece of musical gear, you can click on any one of my videos. And once you're on the site, you click on any of the links in the description of the video. And once you're on the site, you can purchase anything you want, anything you were going to buy anyway. It costs you nothing extra, and it really helps the channel out. So I appreciate you guys using those links, and thank you to Sweetwater for sponsoring this video. This is one of these hard lessons that I definitely learned the hard way. I handled this the wrong way for many, many times. And I also, when projects do go sideways, this is a little side note, but when projects do go sideways, I used to get real protective over, like, well, you can't have the sessions. I'm not giving you any of this stuff. Like, you're not finishing it with me. Now I don't care. If a project goes sideways, which does happen, I'm not going to say it doesn't happen, because it does happen. It's like less than 1% of the time, but it does happen. Here's your Pro Tools session. You can do whatever with it you want. As long as I've been paid for my work, no problem. Here's your Pro Tools session. Take it anywhere else you want and finish it however you want. And that's happened more than a few times. It's a bummer when it happens. I'd prefer it didn't happen. But that's the mature, professional way to handle it. So I hope you got something out of this. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.